Welcome to Ease Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. Natural pride to make us survive. Ease opening minds, the future shine. Welcome to Ease Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. From classroom pride to make us survive.
This podcast is produced by EASE, the European network of STEAM educators, uniting STEAM educators from Europe and all over the world. This product may contain traces of artificial intelligence inside. Join us and find a handful of educational resources at easeeducators.com.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving deep into a really interesting question. Should Europe formally adopt STEAM Day?
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now, especially with all the buzz around STEAM education.
Totally. So STEAM Day, just so we're all on the same page here, it's celebrated on November 8th every year. It's basically a day to highlight the importance of science, technology, engineering, art, and math in education.
Right, and it actually started in the US back in 2015, but it's sparking a lot of debate, particularly in Europe, about, whether it makes sense to have a dedicated day for STEAM.
Exactly. We've got some great articles about how STEAM Day is being celebrated, plus some insights into the whole STEM versus STEAM debate. We'll even be taking a look at the life of Santiago Ramon y Cajal, a neuroscientist whose work, I gotta say, is like a beautiful blend of art and science.
And by looking at all this, we'll try to get a sense of, what STEAM Day could symbolize for educators over in Europe. Plus, we'll explore what it could mean to actually make this celebration official across the whole continent.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's rewind all the way back to 2015 when STEAM Day first popped up in the US. Did you know the date, November 8th, was chosen because, innovate sounds a lot like innovate.
Oh, yeah, that's a clever little play on words, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really does capture what STEAM Day is all about, inspiring future innovators and creators.
And the folks behind it all, MGA Entertainment, a big name in the toy industry, they had a clear vision to really drive home how important STEAM fields are and to light a fire in a new generation, get them passionate about these subjects.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to think about how that vision might work in a European context. Now, you've probably heard of STEM education, but STEAM, with that A for art, it's kind of a big shift in how we think about things.
It makes you wonder, what's the big deal about that A? Why bring art into the mix?
Well, that A is all about recognizing that, it's not just about technical skills. Creativity, critical thinking, different perspectives, those are just as important when it comes to solving problems in these fields. One of the sources actually argued that, it's not enough to just build something that works. It's got to be engaging, something that people connect with on an emotional level.
That's a really interesting point. I'm picturing like a sleek smartphone design, something that's functional but also just looks amazing. Or even a video game that pulls you in with a great story while also teaching you something. Are those good examples of STEAM in action, would you say?
Totally. Those are perfect examples. STEAM isn't about keeping knowledge separate. It's about blending different ways of thinking, different approaches to create solutions and products that really resonate with people. And that's where the A for art comes in, that ability to design with empathy, to connect with an audience on multiple levels.
This makes me think about our listeners. Maybe they're STEAM educators over in Europe. What could a dedicated STEAM Day actually mean for them? What kind of impact could it have?
That's a great question to think about. I think it could really be a unifying thing for the whole continent, a day where everyone's celebrating STEAM education, recognizing all the incredible work educators are doing. Just imagine the awareness it could raise, not just among students, but parents, policymakers, even industry leaders.
Wow. Yeah, it'd be awesome to see that kind of continent-wide support and recognition for STEAM education. It could really help showcase those exciting career paths that open up when you dive into these subjects. Speaking of careers, one of the sources suggested challenging students to find their STEAM idol, someone who inspires them in these fields.
I love that. Yeah. It could be a scientist, an artist, an engineer, a game developer, anyone who really sparks their interest, shows them what's possible within STEAM. And With everything online these days, celebrating STEAM Day can go way beyond the traditional classroom. There are so many resources out there now.
Absolutely. We've got webinars, podcasts like ours, even STEAM-themed games in Minecraft. It's pretty amazing to think about all the ways we can learn and engage with these topics, no matter where we are.
Yeah, the digital world's full of opportunities, that's for sure. But let's not forget the lessons we can learn from the past. Our source material included this biography of Santiago Ramon y Cajal, often called the father of neuroscience. His story is a beautiful example of what happens when you merge art and science.
His story sounds fascinating. Can you tell us a bit more about him?
Well, Cadena loved art and observation, even as a kid, always sketching, exploring the world around him. And when he went on to study medicine, he brought that artistic perspective to his scientific work.
This is where it gets really interesting. How did he actually bring art and science together in his research?
He used his artistic skills to create these unbelievably detailed drawings of neurons, the cells that make up our brains.
Wow, I bet those drawings were incredible.
They were stunning and groundbreaking. His drawings helped him make major discoveries about the brain, how it's structured, how it works, discoveries that eventually won him the Nobel Prize in 1906. They were amazing, really remarkable. And what's inspiring about Cajal's story is that it shows how, fields that seem totally different can actually work together in such powerful ways.
Makes you think, right? Like maybe we're too quick to put knowledge into separate little boxes.
Yeah.
Maybe the real magic happens when we blur those lines and let different subjects influence and inspire each other.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's what makes STEAM education so important for the future. It's about giving students the tools to think critically, creatively, and across different fields. To tackle those complex challenges and come up with innovative solutions.
It's interesting because we've been talking a lot about the symbolic importance of STEAM Day, but this brings up the practical side. Why does STEAM education really matter? What makes it so crucial for the future in Europe or anywhere else?
Well, the reality is the need for skilled professionals in these STEAM fields, it's only going to keep growing. Think about it. We have a growing global population, climate change, the need for advancements in healthcare. These are complicated issues that need innovative solutions, and STEAM is at the heart of finding those solutions.
You're right. And technology is changing so fast. We need people who can not only keep up, but who can drive that innovation forward. That's where STEAM education fits in.
Exactly. It's about empowering the next generation, giving them the skills and the mindset to understand the world and shape the future. And a big part of that is closing that gender and diversity gap in STEAM.
I couldn't agree more. We need everyone's voices and perspectives to make sure the solutions we create actually benefit everyone. So, coming back to our original question, should Europe formally adopt STEAM Day?
It's definitely a compelling idea. I mean, we've talked about the potential benefits, right? Increased awareness, support for educators, inspiring future innovators. Could a unified STEAM Day in Europe be that spark, that catalyst for real change?
It's pretty exciting to think about all the possibilities. Imagine continent-wide celebrations of STEAM, workshops, science fairs, art exhibits, all happening on the same day. It could be a powerful way to get people passionate about STEAM and create a real movement.
It would be pretty incredible and would send a strong message. STEAM matters, innovation matters, and the future belongs to those who can embrace both. Now, the decision ultimately lies with European policymakers, but it brings up a bigger question for all of us, no matter where we live. How can we support STEAM in our own way?
That's a great point. STEAM isn't just for classrooms or labs, right? It's a way of thinking, a way to see the world. We can celebrate STEAM every day just by being curious, exploring new ideas, trying out creative projects.
Exactly. Even simple things like checking out online resources. There are tons of websites, videos, interactive platforms out there that make STEAM accessible to anyone with an internet connection.
It's amazing how much information and inspiration is right there at our fingertips. And we shouldn't forget about mentorship either.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about STEAM, share that with someone younger. Be a guide, a source of encouragement.
Mentorship can be so impactful, especially for young people who might not see themselves represented in STEAM fields. Just showing them that they can be scientists, engineers, artists, innovators, that can make a huge difference.
And parents have a role to play too. Nurturing that love of learning early on. Encouraging curiosity, providing opportunities to explore and experiment. Those are the things that plant the seeds for STEAM.
Absolutely. Creating an environment where kids feel comfortable asking questions, tinkering, exploring their interests, that's where it all starts.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We looked at how STEAM Day started, talked about what that A in STEAM really means, and even explored the life of an incredible STEAM pioneer, Santiago Ramon y Cajal. We talked about why STEAM education is important for the whole world and how each of us can play a part in supporting it. But before we wrap up, what's the one key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with today?
If I had to boil it all down to one point, it would be this. STEAM isn't just about stuffing your head with facts. It's about developing a way of thinking, a mindset of curiosity, creativity, and problem solving that you can use in any part of life.
That's a great way to put it. It's about understanding how different subjects are connected and seeing that innovation often comes from that blend of art, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Exactly. And that's what makes STEAM so powerful, so relevant to the challenges and the opportunities we face today.
Now, before we let our listener go, I have one last thought that's been bouncing around in my head. We talked about Kajal and his amazing drawings of neurons. What if we, took inspiration from him and encouraged all students, no matter what they're studying, to sketch their scientific observations? What do you think about that?
Oh, wow. That's a really cool idea. It really gets at the heart of what STEAM is all about. Bridging that gap between different ways of thinking, different ways of understanding the world.
Exactly. Imagine if sketching became like a regular thing in science, even for people who don't think of themselves as artists.
Yeah.
What kind of impact could that have, do you think?
I think it'd be huge. Sketching makes you slow down, really observe things, notice details you might have missed otherwise. It's like using a different part of your brain, and it helps you understand things on a deeper level.
Yeah, like translating those complex scientific ideas into visuals, making them easier to grasp and remember.
Exactly. And you never know. It could even lead to some unexpected discoveries. Like Kayal's drawings, they changed how we understand the brain. Encouraging students to sketch what they observe, it could open up whole new ways of seeing and understanding the world around us.
It's a beautiful thought to leave our listeners with. As we wrap up this deep dive into STEAM Day, I hope everyone's feeling as excited and inspired as I am.
Remember, STEAM isn't just a bunch of subjects, it's a way of thinking. It's how we spark innovation. It's the key to a brighter future. Whether Europe officially adopts STEAM Day or not, that spirit of STEAM is something we can all embrace, celebrate every single day.
Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. I hope we've piqued your curiosity about STEAM and inspired you to explore these ideas even more.
Welcome to East Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. Natural pride to make us ease of burning minds, so future shine. Welcome to East Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. From classroom pride to make us the ease of burning minds, ease of burning minds, so future shine. You make it
This podcast is produced by EASE, the European network of STEAM educators, uniting STEAM educators from Europe and all over the world. This product may contain traces of artificial intelligence inside. Join us and find a handful of educational resources at easeeducators.com.